They promised not to touch Medicaid. Now they're planning to cut healthcare for over 14 million Americans. And the worst part? They're hoping you won't notice. What if I told you that the very people who promised to protect healthcare for millions of Americans are now quietly working to rip it away? That's exactly what's happening right now in the US, and the numbers are staggering. The Congressional Budget Office, basically the government's financial watchdog, just released a bombshell report. It shows that Republican proposals could strip healthcare coverage from over 14 million Americans. Yes, 14 million. That's not a typo. Here's how they plan to do it. Cap federal Medicaid spending in certain states. That move alone could force 3.3 million people off their health insurance. Repeal a Biden-era rules that makes it easier to sign up for Medicaid. That's another 2.3 million at risk. Clamp down on how states raise money to fund Medicaid. That could leave a shocking 8.6 million without coverage. Add it all up, and it's a healthcare disaster in the making. Now, this isn't speculation. This isn't a what if. These are real proposals currently on the table, and the CBO report was requested by Democrats specifically to analyze the impact of what Republicans are pushing right now. So let's not pretend this is all hypothetical. It's not. And the most jaw-dropping part, just months ago, Donald Trump stood on national television and promised Medicaid wouldn't be touched. He said, and I quote, "None of that stuff is going to be touched." But clearly something changed, or maybe, just maybe, they were never being honest in the first place. This kind of political bait and switch is nothing new. Republicans often campaign on promises to protect programs like Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. But once they're in power, they reach for the scissors and start cutting. And they do it quietly. Instead of saying, well, we're slashing Medicaid, they use phrases like per capita caps or provider tax limits. Sounds boring, right? That's the point. These are technical terms that mask the real-world impact. Millions of low-income families, elderly people in care homes, and children losing their health care. Let's break that down even further. When Republicans talk about per capita caps, what they're really saying is, let's set an upper limit on how much help the federal government will provide, no matter how bad things get. So when costs rise, states are stuck. And when states can't afford to fill the gap, they start dropping people from Medicaid, slashing services, and paying doctors less, which means fewer clinics and hospitals will treat Medicaid patients. And it gets even more twisted. The Republican-controlled House wants to slash £880 billion, that's over $1 trillion, from the budget of a committee that funds Medicaid. They're claiming we're not cutting Medicaid, just the committee that funds it. But here's the problem. That committee mostly deals with Medicaid. So how do you cut $880 billion from it without slashing healthcare? You don't. It's basic maths. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez laid it out perfectly. It's like saying, I never said the word 6, but you still wrote 10-4 on the page. The outcome is the same. You just didn't say it out loud. This isn't just political strategy, you read? It's people's lives. Cutting Medicaid doesn't mean less bureaucracy. It means elderly people losing their spot in care homes. Medicaid pays for 60% of nursing home care in the US. Children losing access to doctors. Over 40% of kids rely on Medicaid or CHIP. People with disabilities losing essential support. Struggling families being pushed even closer to the edge. And here's what really stings. Republicans are going after Medicaid, not Medicare or Social Security, because they've made a calculated decision. The people on Medicaid tend to be the poorest and the least politically powerful. That includes the sick, the disabled, the elderly, and children. These are the easiest targets with the weakest defenses. Think about that for a second. A political party that calls itself strong, patriotic, and family first is actively targeting the weakest people in society, all while handing out more tax breaks to billionaires and corporations. They're hoping you won't see what's happening, that you'll get distracted by jargon or headlines or drama. But behind the curtain, this is about choices. And the Republican Party is choosing corporate tax breaks over healthcare for kids. Simple as that. If you take away just one thing from this, remember this. Next time a politician promises not to touch Medicaid, look at their actions, not their words. Because this isn't about balancing the budget. It's about values. And they've made it crystal clear. Protecting the vulnerable isn't one of theirs. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and Stein key.